actually air that. But with this, it's about selling the stories, not because many think that it's important, but it's just a trendy story. And then safety and security of journalists. Some media houses are very young, so they do not have enough resources to take care of their journalists. Others are just reckless, or they just think this is like any other job. You've seen those companies, I think even like sugar companies, sugar factories, where you come and work. It's a very intense environment, but they don't give you gadgets to protect yourself. And that's actually a big problem. I think when you look at those pictures of political rallies or environments where it's intense, you can see actually that so many journalists, just that they're safe at that time, maybe God is on their side, but they would actually suffer. For me, it's always about, because you're supposed to hold people accountable, companies accountable, and all that, but so many people are untouched. And one of the things is, for example, you've seen the fires that happened in Makere, we had fires in Kasuri Toms, we had Owino. The guys that are even in charge, and let me give an example of police. It's always a story of, we're still finding out, we would let you know, which becomes, you're always sitting like an empty room, because you want to know the causes of things, you want to speak to the nation and tell them what is happening, yet so many people or so many entities are not willing to give us that information. And overall, for me, it's a great opportunity to be a part of it, but we still have so much to do, even with the state helping out, letting journalists do their job. If you want to find out, I think there's actually an interview that I was watching where Solomon was asking, I think the finance minister, or the money that was embezzled, the one that was related to COVID-19, and given, and then we don't know how money disappeared, and the gentleman walked off set. You see? So sometimes actually you're also going to be hated. Sometimes you're going to be hated, but if you stand for the core values of journalism, then you'd rather stick to your job. And it's not about pleasing anyone, it's about doing things that hold people accountable, that are objective, make sure that people understand why they should even have information to make better decisions and all those things. So I think I've summed up, I don't know if I think I've been all around, but I think that's all I have to say.
Any questions and answers, please? Any questions? Anyone? Thank you.
She talked about journalism as an entertainment. And we have all, I don't want to use the word, but we have seen a lot of instances happen with journalism, with basically the news. My first question will ask like this: is there journalism beyond news? So if we hear about the word journalism, should we only think about news? Then another question, if it is like about news, we have had, should I call them unprofessional TVs? Should I call them unprofessional news? Whereby they bastardize the whole point of news.
I think if you look at the history of journalism, you realize that even in the Roman Empire, which was, I think, was it 180 BCE, you realize that journalism was always to update people. I mean, media was really to update people about whatever was happening. So news, I think if you think about it, news, you might think about 7 p.m., 8, 9 p.m. news, but you realize that media offers more than that. There's entertainment programs, there's children's programs, there's news, there's solid, news, bulletins, but everything that is happening is all journalism, is all in that docket, you see. So for me, I think it's anything that updates you or informs your mind to give you options on what you should think about certain things and make a decision. I think for me, it's anything that is a part of the media industry. Sometimes you're not going to feed someone with news the whole day or whatever programs there might be. You might have to just add in a little entertainment so that you're freeing someone's mind, but it might be educative as well or anything like that.
Which measures do these associations or this association take to regulate these discrepancies of fake news? That is one. Number two, The journalism fraternity is a very powerful field. So I would appeal to our panelists to take it as a point. I believe you belong to associations that regulate you. So I wish you could add in more efforts. Now, as I said, I'm a health worker. For us in the health fraternity, we have many issues, we have many challenges. You get it? So, but there are a few cases that the media fraternity that come in to really follow up those discrepancies, those challenges, so that the nation can be aware of them.
Fake news, well, because I'm not part of any, so because I'm not a part of any, I wouldn't really want to lie about anything. But some of these things, are just problems that we face as journalists. But there are bodies that are supposed to be doing that job, and they're not doing that job. And once you adjust them, which is also another challenge, or once you try to get to them, you're faced with so many sanctions, or you're not allowed to even go past that. You see? Health. There's actually something that I went to, I'll just be brief. There's a house, not Mulago, Chirudo Hospital. There's something that I noticed. There's a project that I'm working on, but I feel like it is very important for people to even know about. I won't tell you my project, so I'm going, can I go and do my project? Yeah, but we have, and we're still on the journey. I don't want to call it the struggle, but we're still on the journey of making sure that we hold everyone accountable in their capacity, and to make sure that if it's about humanity, we are aware of what we publish, and we make sure that the world knows of what is happening, so that they can understand how to take care of themselves, how to take care of people, how the government can even be held accountable. We've seen some cases where interviews are done and people are walking out of interviews because they feel like you're holding them accountable, you're rude. Now here, you might even never get the opportunity to ask a question. Otherwise, you'll find police at your home and they're ready to take you, and they tell you you're accused of treason. You see? So it's different things.
Yes. At this very time, let's have kind of women and investigate Jen.
So allow me begin. Now, after Sharon has spoken, I don't know what I can say. She's such a great speaker. One of the hard beating I've gotten in journalism was because of a story that I did. And the story was not an easy story, but I got a hard beating. Whether the beating was justified or not, but I got the beating. So this is a story I did about Ziggy Wine. Do you remember this story? That's one of the ladies that I got in an accident, who the late Ziggy Wine had knocked. So, I went on and pursued the story and did it, completed it. The date was supposed to air, it didn't air. The computer crashed last minute. They waited for it at 10 p.m. The computer refused to go on air, refused to work, so the story did not air. We had to postpone to the following day. We advertised and said, guys, you are not lying, blah, blah, blah. People started saying that the state had infiltrated our studios and etc. They want to change what the truth is and etc. But the story aired the following day. But throughout that entire process, I was almost the center of discussion of the story, because I had an alternative angle contrary to what was actually being fronted. They even said that this lady that had gotten an accident, that they had framed the police officer. You see how they kind of look alike? They had framed the police officer, and therefore But me, I went out to do the story, to find out the truth. In fact, when police said the guy had gotten an accident, I went to the point of the accident scene, to find out, is it true he had gotten an accident? We need to punch holes in the police force and their lives. I found out, actually, the story was true. Anyway, I went to and investigated, and in one way or another, the story came out. The story was not liked.
The point is, while this story was happening, the people inside the police force also did not know what the truth was until the story came out. Now, since it was a traffic accident, there's someone who is responsible inside police at Kira or police station that was covering that area where the accident happened, and she had been asked what had happened. That the police case of the accident had been registered at a small police post along the bypass. She did not have any details, and neither are there cameras around that place. So what happened is that she, because failed to account for what had happened, and yet that's her area, she was going to be fired from the force. And this I discovered later when the story was done and months had passed. She got my number. Remember when Samson Kasumba was arrested? He was taken to Kira police station. After Kasumba was getting out of the prison cells, said, "Oh, sorry, what happened? But can you please give me Karen Ngume's number?" The lady called me. I went and met her at Kira police station. She told me, "You have no idea how you saved my job. You have no idea how you saved my family." She was going to be fired from the force because the force was under fire and she failed to account for what had happened. Because that's her area. Anyway, the story came out, and surprisingly, the force took it in as the truth because I had investigated, and just like that, the story saved her job. Let me go to another story. This is a story I did about illegal fishing on Lake Victoria. This is an act being done by people, so they go to the lake, catch small fish, sell it, but also use illegal nets. When they use illegal nets, UPDF confiscates them and then bans them. 3 factories have been shut down. There was a lot that was happening. They introduced the UPDF wing, or the marine wing on the lake, to go and arrest these guys and ban these boats and all their illegal nets and try them. So what happened is that the narrative inside Parliament changed. Since parliamentarians want to be fighting for the people, they said the UPDF has terrorized everyone on the lake. So I went on the lake and investigated, brought out the story. I was in the lake for 2 nights. This is how it looks like when they use illegal nets and catch fish. It destroys the internal organs, but also such a fish, even if it was to reproduce, go back in the lake and reproduce, it will never do that because it's already spoiled. It just cannot. Anyway, the story came out, and guess what? The truth was on the side of the UPDF. The narrative inside Parliament changed. The UPDF is now using media to change the narrative. But the truth had come out, and even the parliamentarians who wanted to look as if they were on the side of the people, they changed their debate. So there was influence of debate inside Parliament. But we are the voice of the voiceless. The first time they said they do not want anyone on the road. UPDF, LDU, and Uganda police went downtown and beat up everyone. It's curfew, it's a lockdown, no one should be on the street. I took this picture with my phone. These are women really trying to sell fruits on the roadside, vegetables, trying to make a living. Their families depend on them being on the street to sell these things. The LD do not want to know. You can see, the lady is trying to sell her fruits, they are being taken away. So the pictures are not crystal clear. But yeah, that was it. We went and did the story. These images went viral. You see, this is not a simple thing. That, just imagine if the camera was just not there. Just imagine if the camera was not on the lake. Just imagine if the camera was not taken to the accident scene. Where would the families of these people be? would they ever have gotten justice? That's why I thought it is important that we understand how powerful journalism is. That it's not just a job, it's not just a vocation that I wake up, suit up, go to the field, look for news, but I have a huge responsibility on my shoulders to bring out the truth. And this responsibility sometimes requires me to bring out the truth regardless of what side it will fall. It does not matter as long as it's the truth. Before I joined, when I used to see the Ballet Francis on TV, when I used to watch UBC and the VBS, journalism was a monopoly of information. So it was trust me. I am journalism, you are the audience, you trust me. Because you have to wait for 9 p.m. and I give you the news. Something Sharon talked about. Where we are right now, the audience is asking the journalists and the media, show me. Why should I watch you? Why should I believe you? Why should I waste my time to wait for 9 p.m. or 7 p.m. to watch news? Why should I follow you back on Facebook? Why should I follow you on Twitter? Why should I look up the information that you're putting up? Be more transparent. Bring out the truth and give me reasons on why I should spend time to watch you. When I grew up, when I was an information prefect reading news on radio, on radio and on the parade, I had no alternative. That was the truth and the only truth. Now, you will have now to go slow. Should I follow Canary or should I follow Sharon? Maybe let me follow both of them. If they post the same information, maybe it's true. If one posts after the other, let me go maybe and follow Raymond. Maybe that's why they... Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the current state of media right now in journalism. The smaller the script, the higher the traffic. It's a screenshot of an iPhone. In the morning when you wake up, what do you hold? Your phone. You don't switch on your TV. Me, I completely refused. I said I'm not going to see what happened in the night. I wake up, switch on CNN or Al Jazeera for 15-30 minutes as my head is trying to wake up. I go to shower, blah, blah, blah. As I'm having breakfast, I'm scrolling through my phone to see what happened in the night. But 99.999% you wake up, when you're having breakfast, this is a cup, this is a phone. You're scrolling as you're eating. Put down the cup with one hand, pick a chapati with the same hand, but this phone does not leave this hand. You're like this. You get it? Lunchtime, same. This is a fork, this is a phone. You're like this. On a border, they have stopped at the traffic lights. Remove the phone. At night, before you sleep, you're in your bed like this. You get it? So the smaller the screen, the higher the traffic. These big screens have become a second screen. Our first screen is the phone. So the future now, I'm talking about the future of journalism. So we've also found ourselves now trying to craft content that you will find on your phone at all times, and you will enjoy it. Because if we don't, some other people will. We were live on NBS, UBC carried our feed, so they had the same information. Twitter, school, the NTV had a feed from what was live in the nominations. But guess what? No one has the best angle of the arrest of Bobi Wine as he fell down. And at the point where they even punched Eddie Mutwe, no one has a better angle than the guy who was inside the car recording.